Hi there, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Franki 411 podcast. I'm your host, Haley Overseth. Today with me on this episode, I have my friend Lindsey, the cheat code 333 on TikTok. Lindsey is another member of my soul fam, and I was so happy to catch up with her again. We have a great conversation about our spiritual journeys and some real great advice from Lindsey. I do hope you enjoy it. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Franki 411 podcast. I am so thrilled to have Lindsey, the cheat code 333 from TikTok, who is part of my soul fam. I'm so excited. You know what? I could be real good in podcast professional right now, but I am just so thrilled to be talking to you. I'm so happy to see you.
Me too.
I'm so excited. Okay, so I usually like to start with a little intro, let the people know for the new audience that may not be familiar with you. Tell us about what you do.
Man, it's funny because when people ask me that in the street, I just automatically say psychic medium because that's easy, layman's terms, but it's so much deeper.
And it's difficult to I totally get that where you're like, there's actually a lot more to it than all the things that you think when you hear psychic, but that's the best that you think most people can accept it a little bit, process it.
That's the first layer. But now that I'm on here and I can actually speak freely about it, I feel like this group right here will get it.
Yeah, basically, that's the goal.
Yeah, so it's basically the best way to explain myself without a whole novel is I'm a cheat code. So the universe, gave me that term as the cheat code and got a tattoo, a key.
I saw that. I love that.
Yeah,
that's new.
I'm a light code activator. I make keys for people. So I use truths, the divine truths, and I create keys that activate DNA, soul wisdom. I'm here to help people see the cheat code that they are. So
I love it because we all have it, right? It's just
we all have it.
It's sometimes you need a little bit of help getting past the human conditioning we have that says that we're not special or we're not how could you have something so special like that and isn't that
exactly
that's something that I think is kind of interesting in the way that people sort of can push away at the sort of things that you do, I guess I would say, and the people that I'm talking to on my podcast, they're definitely big in the spiritual community and channeling and sort of tapping into source energy, your own intuition, your higher self. And it does seem like people want to push that away. It makes them uncomfortable to they'd rather think you're a charlatan because that makes them more comfortable sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I feel that. And it's funny because I've gotten to the point where I don't even notice it anymore.
Yeah.
I just gotten so used to making people uncomfortable because I've gotten used to being uncomfortable.
Because you have to.
Yeah. It's funny you say that even because the other day on one of my lives, I do readings on my lives too, along with one-on-ones. So I had one of my regulars email me apologizing. She's like, I'm so sorry. I was just being a total brat. And I felt the energy, don't get me wrong, but I just ignored it because I'm just babe, thanks for the apology. But it's part of the job. We're unveiling deep ass emotions and wisdom.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone wants to hear the things and right. Even though they're asking for the things and it's okay, right? Well, the universe wants to tell you to look at things a different way. And sometimes that's something that you don't like. That's because it is uncomfortable, to change your perspective. So I do love, I was watching some of it's so funny, the number of synchronicities that led up to me popping onto your stuff and being we need to talk on my podcast. Oh my God. So funny the number of I saw a tiny little snake at the park, a tiny little baby snake out at the park.
Me too.
Did you? And I thought of you and I'm Lindsey, she totally, because I remember when we were taking that, you were doing that channeling class and I was in there that you had seen a snake and that was something that was another synchronicity for us. And I'm Lindsey, oh my God. I was so excited.
Yesterday.
I love it. That's such a synchronicity. I love it. But so you were talking about how you have infinite bodies as much as you have infinite selves, right? Your highest timeline body that you think you want to be in or whatever that exists every bit as much as your highest timeline personality, abundance level, all the things. And I just, that's something that really resonated with me. So I was just wondering if you could like talk about that a little bit and like the messaging that you have going on with that a little bit.
Hell yeah, you give me a third eye boner just mentioning it. I'm like,
I love
it. No, I love talking about this stuff. So, how I understand it as all true, so true, right? That's like what I always tell people before I go into this stuff, because like that's just my understanding that I created and how I work with it. So all true, so true, right?
That is a thing that I say all the time too, like, because it is whatever you believe is true or feel is true, that's what's true for you.
Exactly. So whatever I say a lot of time, I say like, this is just inspiration for your own understanding and your own way for understanding how you work. Because we're all different. Ain't no cookie cutter approach.
Right. There's no one size fits all.
Yeah. So this is how I explain it and understand it for myself. Is understanding that your mental body, physical body, emotional body, and spiritual body, think of it as a combination. So just like you see codes in a computer constantly changing, codes changing, right? That's how we are. So we are constantly shifting the right combination to receive ourselves.
Oh, I like that. That's fun. So right? More the combination lock than just a straight up key, right? You got to get like the numbers got to line up. I like that visual a lot.
Me too. Like, chills. Oh my God.
I know. I was just like, I'm loving it. Like it does. You have to, how do I embody my highest timeline? Well, it's not just about what your highest timeline looks like. It's about what does your highest timeline think about? What does your highest timeline feel on a regular basis? What is your highest timeline eating, or what are the phrases your highest timeline likes to use? There's so many more things to line up than just like the simple image that you have in your mind, right?
Exactly. And I love the way you said that. Like I literally got chills because
I'm just loving this conversation already.
It's so
like, juicy.
This is what I needed today. I love this.
Yay.
Like it's funny you say that because I actually got a download. I'm saying every day, this is my ritual with myself. I walk to the coffee stand and buy myself a chai tea latte. And I walk through this wooded area. And that's where I get my downloads with myself, like a walking meditation. And today it was actually talking about this and balance. So as we're talking, I'm getting this download that now makes sense because back up for a second. I'm being called to share this story because yesterday was one of those days where you're all in the emotional body and physical body, feeling things you don't understand that feel super uncomfortable. But
I'm with that vibe 100%. Like feeling things that you're like, I know that my brain wants to connect this to old things that I worry about, but I'm letting those things go. So what the hell is this? I don't need this anymore. We're upgrading the timelines here. Why am I like, just shove off already? Like lots of love, lots of love to you, emotions that are like icky, but like you're free to go, like
exactly,
like 100%. I'm with you.
That's I love the way you explained that too, because that's exactly what was going on. My mind was trying to project on these energies and they'd stop me from feeling them. So you want to know what unlocked this? Okay. I did this Peloton yoga workout, right?
Oh, fun. Okay.
It was Hosier yoga. If you want to feel shit and release, combine Hosier songs with yoga. Because I literally got into
I love Hosier so much, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the song "Take Me to Church" always
me too
makes me think of you all the time. I swear, I'm like, I want to see Lindsey dancing to this song because that song makes me think of you all the time. That's so, and I've been starting to do yoga more lately. That is so crazy. I love it.
Oh my God, do you cry and just like feel heavy releases with yoga? Like yoga is so potent to me.
I have that's so funny you say that. Not while I'm doing yoga or whatever, but I was like, I don't know what brought it on. Maybe that's what it is, just like energy shifting because I'm doing some new stuff. But like I was in the car and had this feeling of like all the worried feelings that come up all the time, I just had this feeling of like so much love for like me and for all those feelings, and just being like, of course the universe wants things to work out so well for me. Of course everything wants to fall into place for me. Of course everything is trying to make life go the best possible way, even beyond what I think for myself would be the best, like, and I
Exactly.
did. I just started bawling in my car, like, be like, this is ridiculous, but it's good, I guess. Like,
Dude, I
you know,
love it because that's exactly the download I got today and like what I realized yesterday because I've been avoiding my physical body for a long time in my life because I do have so much trauma and that's a whole other
yeah.
story. But I yoga for me is like I'm always like hesitant because it is so potent to me. Like every time I
Mm-hmm.
do yoga, I get nauseous. It's like I'm detoxing. Like I see this like
Yeah.
part of me open up and start to come out that was stored in layers that I didn't know. And so going back to
Right.
the infinite bodies, because you're changing bodies every day.
Right.
So
And like
you're
you can release and let go and be all new, and like whatever that trauma is you were holding on to, you can say like, okay, Sal's, you're fine to let that go now. I love
yeah.
that. I love that so much. And about so many anxiety things, even in like that you don't know, why do I keep going back to this old anxiety that I have, whether it's about money or what people think of me or being seen or whatever it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
to just, and I've kind of been doing that a little bit too, talking to myself, and like, you have your own intelligence. You want to operate at my highest timeline as much as I want to operate at my highest timeline. You're free to do the things you know you need to do. And that includes letting go of vibrational energy that I don't know where it is. I don't know what it's from. And it is that old emotions coming up that I don't necessarily even know what it's attached to. And I've kind of accepted that too, that like maybe there's a simultaneous lifetime of mine, or people say past life, but everything is here and now, right? So it's all
Exactly.
happening now. I,
Yeah.
I think to myself, like, maybe that's something from another infinite me that needs to be released. That's not even anything to do with me, right? In my timeline that I'm in. And I have to be like, okay, well, you're free to release that too. And I send you love too. I don't know which one of me you are, but it's okay for us to like let go of that.
Well, even when you understand that your past is always rewriting itself. So
Yes.
every time you jump into a new timeline, there was completely different timelines as a past to that specific moment.
Let's
So you
have this
can't actually
conversation.
know, right? You can imagine like every time you jump a timeline, you get that epiphany. You can see your past being reshifted. And that's what we experience as shifts. We're like,
Right.
whoa, oh my God, that's a Raven moment. I'm shifting because
Yeah.
your past is being rewritten. Your whole now moment is being rewritten.
I love this because I was like I had like exactly that download a couple days ago and was trying to explain it to my sister, like how I saw it in my head. I was
Yeah,
like, I figured out like sort of how reality works. I'm like, it's all a holographic slide deck, right? We're the projector in the middle. You're the light that like gets to view through whatever slide you choose. And whatever slide or timeline or slice of life you choose, it's like picking a movie. It's going to have all the background memories required for this, for where you are. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's always been your past. You can change your past as much as you can change your future and your now, because you're picking what slice you want to be in. So it all has to
exactly.
line up to fit that slice. It's like the Mandela effect when you remember something differently than other people do. It's like, because you don't live in that timeline anymore, you have to remember what
Exactly.
this timeline says.
Exactly. That's why we have to get out of the mind
Yes.
because we keep recreating the same scene. Like we move, but then we jump back into that same scene.
Yes. And this is something I love about yoga, is like, get into your body and forget where you're at, and like let yourself shift into like
Exactly.
whatever is the new thing that comes with it.
Exactly. Because
I
what I
love this.
got today in the woods was happiness. Many people chase happiness,
Mm-hmm.
balance, even. His happiness, balance, abundance, those are all the same frequency of this creatorhood, freedom of
Right.
creation, right? So I got this download today from God, and he was just like, you literally, every aspect of you is God, the universe, whatever you believe in, right?
Right. Call it what you
So
want. Right.
yeah. So it's like every cell, every DNA strand is the universe, meaning you are a cell of the universe, meaning you operate the same as the universe. Like you follow the same laws. And what's the biggest law of the universe? Balance is always restored naturally.
Right. And that's kind of my whole thing of like sort of harmony in the highest timeline. It's
Yeah.
I think that we have such an attachment to the idea of balance, meaning that you have to have like as much like the bad has to be equivalent to the good, and that somehow that is a bad thing. Like
That it's
you can
judgment.
right, exactly. It's your perception. It's like you can have any event happen and perceive it to be something that is like, oh, look at that. That's creation and that's part of my experience and part of existence. And isn't that cool? And I'm trying to be more unconditional like that about like the thoughts and feelings that I have that are coming up sometimes, and if I have a thought or whatever that like I really don't like, there's so like I've been listening to Jose Silva and they have this like subconscious reprogramming. You can be like cancel when you want to like cancel a thought you don't like. But I'm trying
Yeah.
to be more unconditional and not shove things away. So I've instead of doing that like panic cancel thing when I have like whatever the worst case scenario intrusive thoughts that you get because they happen, they'll come up and I'll just be like, okay, disregard that. Just disregard. It's not a big deal. We're not going to fuss about it. It's a thing that floats in there sometimes because it does. We're just going to let it do that and just disregard it. We don't have to attach to it,
Exactly.
and that's such a thing I'm trying to practice right now.
And that's the beautiful thing because, I'm a Gemini. So I like to think, I like to control in that way for a long time. And I could for a long time in my journey. I got away with it. And one thing I'm
I
learning
mean,
is
we
how
think we got away with it. I'm a Sagittarius. I have that same thing of like, I'm in charge of this game. And it's like, no, you shouldn't be in charge of this game.
right?
You should give that up to like who knows what's going because you can't see all the pieces like you think you can. And
When I say got away with it, meaning I was happy at that level of being and content for a long time of just understanding and like being in that like sense of like quote unquote control, right? And then my soul yearned for more, and I realized that to let in everything that I created and more, when I say created, I don't just mean my mind. I mean like the creations from my truest mind, which are my heart. That's why you
yes,
realize like you walk this path and you get to like quote unquote the end of a chapter
mm-hmm.
and you're like, well, I don't even want that anymore, right? But you thought you wanted, but then all of a
Yes,
sudden you get something better because the whole time your heart is simultaneously creating the perfect balance naturally of everything you are and what you
right.
truly
The
desire.
what you really would like to see and what it really looks
Yeah,
like. And I love that. I'm such in that space right now of like, okay, I want to like visualize the things that I want to create, but at the same time be in the present moment and allow like my true self to express in the ways that I know I can't figure out, even if I try to visualize. So I'm trying to find that balance where I'm like, just focus on the good. If you're gonna like try to create your future, think about the good things about it that you like. And if you're gonna be in the now, look at the good things that you like and just fuck the past. That'll figure itself out when you upgrade to wherever and it's fine.
yeah,
So it's I do love that. I love that energy so much of like you got to let in the good and really I am so in that place of like it really is time to trust that the universe wants you to be as happy as you want to be and more.
exactly.
You
Because
know.
that's your that's you, you're God. And that's one thing God said to me the other day. He's like, you got this far because you saw the God in everything and everyone. But now it's time to see you in everything and everyone because you are God too. You are me and I am you.
That I'm having such an interesting time with that right now, is what I will say. Because I will look at things and be like, okay, I created that. Or I'll have something happen that I'm like, I'm kind of not into that. But I'll be like, but I know I created that because I know I was thinking about that. Like, I know I did that. So I am trying to be in that space of, okay, we are the creators of everything we're experiencing. If we don't like it, don't kick yourself for that, because
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to create more of it. You know, let go and focus on the things that you do like, and be open. That's the other thing I've been telling myself. And I love that you were talking about that, because I'm trying really hard to be in my heart space more, and like
Yeah.
really be here, be present, be in your heart space, and understand that your heart space is not a place where things talk and speak English to you, like your brain. Like your brain's
Yeah,
talking English all day.
I love that.
It's not going to make sense energetically. That's why you got to get in that heart space where you're like, I don't really know what this is. I know it's good. I don't know what it is.
What speaks the language of your soul? Like for me, a lot of the time, it's even light language. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what I hear? It's like you feel it. It's like the language of spirit, which is felt. It's formless. It's not formed yet. And the formlessness creates the form. And so when we try to create the form and when we try to reach for the form before the formlessness, it's like putting the cart ahead of the horse.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm trying to be, I don't know. I mean, do you have messages on that, or do you have things that have come through recently on that? Just that sort of
Yeah.
balanced space of, yes, there are things I want to create. So I want to visualize this future that I want to create, that I want to make my now, right? Because it's not the future. It's like, okay, I want my now to look a certain kind of way, right?
Yeah.
But my brain
No.
wants to do it's going to happen this way, right? It's like, no,
Yeah.
stay in your now and visualize what you want the now to look like, and let the universe arrange the rest of the dominoes.
And I've been working on this a lot because I was in the same boat and I'm still critiquing that, like still not critiquing, but
It's a
you know the word.
it's
It's
a
a process.
process. You
Yeah.
you gotta, you have all these iterations of you that you gotta kind of work through.
But it's funny because I feel like I was tapping into your energy this morning and we were
Really?
working together in the 5D long before we got in this podcast.
Oh,
And
100%. I love
like
it.
what I received from some really cool messages, and it's adding as we talk. I hear you talk about it, and like the messages that are being inspired right now are understanding that every single truth is just one line in your book. It's always changing. One truth goes to the next. So when we understand that combination again, right? That
Yes.
combination effect where you just do what's pleasurable to you in the moment, and you don't have attachments to it because you realize that that truth is inspiring a different combination within you.
I am in my mind visualizing this like golden padlock that just goes on through infinity, that's just constantly spinning and clicking numbers into place, and then shifting, and then spinning and clicking numbers into place, and then like that's what's going on in my head in a movie right now that I'm seeing. It's just like,
Exactly.
it's a process of like, okay, I've clicked this into place, but that has, because once you get to a certain level, that's the whole thing that we do as spiritual beings, and as like our whole existence is about evolution and leveling up and expanding. Like we just want to be more expansive. So it's like every time you get to a next level, you're looking to the next thing, because there's more to experience and there's more to imagine, right? And so that's, I think some of that is where I am, is that I want to like, I keep sort of saying to myself in the morning, like, okay, what's the highest expression of myself? How can I experience the most expansive version of me today? Right.
Exactly. And that's beautiful. That's exactly what you're meant to do, because one thing I heard this morning was the fact that it's not the things we want. And you get to the point where you're out of that survival mode into thriving, of understanding that you just want to be infinite. You just want to express your soul's music without stopping it. So every time we think and
Right.
control, we're like scratching and stopping that music that wants to come naturally through us. And
I kind of love that a little bit, because when you like I'm seeing like the DJ thing, like you're scratching the record, and it's like, but that's still part of creation too. So again, don't kick yourself when you're like throwing up resistance and you're creating, because your inner self is infinitely creative. And if you throw up resistance or put roadblocks up, they're like, okay, great. This is another problem that I get to solve to try to bring you what you actually want. And here's this other new way that I'm finding to get it to you. And, at what point do you want to stop throwing up blocks and making me get real creative? I don't care. Keep going as long as you want, So that's
what I find with that too is I had to learn how to allow. I had a receiving wound that I'm still healing.
Tell me
So
more about this because I'm with you 100%. What do we have on the finally I am worthy of receiving and I know that. Where is this vibrational thing in me that disagrees?
And I'm being called to give you an activation with this too. And like this message is going to be an activation, but I'm going to give you like a repeatable activation to take with you. So you can say like a word and have it like just help you retrain the mind.
Right.
Because I feel like me and you are pretty similar. And what I discovered, I made a video on this before when I was walking back home. And we become MacGyvers of balance. So let me explain that.
I love MacGyver, so I love this already.
Me too. I used to watch it all the time.
Right? Yes. I love it. So perfect.
MacGyver, for those people who don't know, he could literally make something out of anything. Like he could get out of any, he's like the master of survival, could get out of any situation with like a paper clip and like a string, and he could make some kind of thing to Houdini his way
absolutely
out, right?
With bubble gum and duct tape can make an explosive somehow.
Right?
I so love it. Yes.
So, and I know why now that it came in that way, because I was literally about to walk home to do this. So we became MacGyvers of balance, meaning we can naturally create everything we need out of nothing. Because as children, we oftentimes grew up in situations where we had to, because we did not receive that love openly. We had to create something out of nothing. We had to tap in, which is a gift. It taught us how to do that, which is a gift. But now
I love that. That's so something I need for my inner child. Like,
right?
The abandonment wound thing, right? Like,
so
you chose that so that you would learn a thing. Don't be so mad at yourself that you chose it. Like, why did I hurt myself like that? Like, you did it wasn't a hurt, it was a help so that you would learn how to be this that you are.
You signed up for that class, right?
Yeah,
you signed
100%.
up for that class.
I love it.
Right?
Yes.
And so it looks like this. And this is how you recognize and like the little things, because we're going from MacGyver to master. So just because you can create that balance doesn't mean you should or have to. Okay? So for instance, someone is asking you a question. Like on my lives, for instance, people will ask me questions, and I used to like work really hard to try to understand what they're saying instead of just being like, hey, can you repeat that in a different way? I'm not understanding what you're saying. But meanwhile, I'm doing all these jumping through hoops and bending backwards to understand when I can just be like, hey, can you repeat that in a different way? Or in relationships, for instance, you create balance where there is imbalance. So if you have a friend, they always come to you and they're like, always like, oh, I have this going on. And you just talk to them and you just, you give them that human experience and hold them energetically. But then when you go to them, it's like not that in return. They don't give you any of that. They stay quiet or whatever it is. But then you go get back and you stew about it for a minute. But then you create this golden nugget from it. So it's okay. Like, I can do this though. And again, you create, you weave and you MacGyver these golden nuggets. You're always growing. You've learned to use everything for your benefit, which is a beautiful thing.
Right. Like everything, even if your old paradigms say, look at that as bad or uncomfortable or awkward, or this means something about my worthiness or that. No, I'm not looking for I'm not pulling out the tarot deck so that I can see what stones are in my path. I'm pulling it out because it's got pretty pictures and what are the nice things that it can trigger me to think about now.
Right.
Step off the wheel of karma. Fuck it, I'm done. We don't let's hamster wheel that does not need to be created anymore. What's the new thing separate of that? I don't know what it is, but I know it's got to be some good stuff if I want to go there. Right.
So yeah, it's really this understanding that you have this gift and now you're mastering this gift for your personal satisfaction. Because when you do that, you take yourself out of balance. It takes energy to do that. So instead of being like human and being like, hey, like, why don't you like ever like give me that same in return? Or maybe finding a new friend if that doesn't work, like we just because we get that understanding, it's okay. Because we're going into those patterns of feeling comfortable always giving to ourselves instead of allowing ourselves to receive that balance naturally by just being real with ourselves. Just because we can get that understanding doesn't mean we always have to.
You can choose. You can choose the thing that you prefer, and that's the whole point of why you came here. So go ahead and let yourself have the thing that you prefer.
But think about how much it's more about like learning those little things that you do are actually really massive. Well, you're putting that energy that isn't allowing the universe just to give it to you. You're always working for it, right? I do this too. Like I'm always just like tinkering and being like,
I know. How do I get to the quantum level where I can rearrange the atoms and get this external reality to my liking, because I know that I can. And it's like, it's good that you want to do that, but guess who can do that better than you and your human ego self?
Exactly. It's just you naturally being you. It's understanding that you've done these things without trying this whole time. You've naturally learned how to create balance this whole time. So really, the only thing that's going on is you not trusting your innate ability to be in balance naturally. You're stepping out of balance that literally is built into your DNA by just allowing yourself to trust yourself in the present moment, that you do that naturally.
I love that.
So
I keep telling my brain that sometimes, like, it's never gone as badly as you think.
It never went badly. That's the thing.
Well, right.
When you get to a
That's
point
so true. It never went wrong. You keep looking at it like it was like, but it was good. And look at where you are now.
So this is an activation that I think is going to really help you. That's what they're telling me to tell you this. So when you're manifesting,
I'm so excited about this, by the way. I just want to just send you so many energetic hugs right now. This is just so good.
When you understand that you're not consciously up to creating the story. Your job as the human, the avatar, right, is to understand the story you've already written, to read the story you've already written. So manifesting is not making it happen. It's understanding what you've already done by walking it naturally. So when you want to manifest something, I want you to say this out loud, okay? Like, what's one thing that you've been wanting to manifest that you just don't see yet?
More bigger community around my creative stuff, in terms of like followers, fans, just people like you that I could talk to, like have these kind of conversations with,
So community.
Right. Like this creative community, because that is like obviously what I want to do full time, right? Because I'm still doing like a regular job, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. I don't know how to get there when I try to chase it. Right? Like I know because I've tried.
So right? I want you to try this.
Okay.
With what I just said, you understand that you're already there. It's already here now. You've already done it, right? Yes. I want you to say, this is the story of how I created my community. I am learning the story. I am reading the story about how I created my community.
I love how that. I went full time. This is the story of how I became like the best Franki version of me that I always wanted to be. I love it. I love that so much. I really
feel the chills. Feel the chills like, that it's not your responsibility to make it happen. You naturally already did it.
I love watching my movie. My movie is so good. Like, I'm just loving watching my movie. I love that. That is so great. I really do love that. And like, because I'm a writer, and that's the big thing too that I do. And I really want to get like my books out and stuff like that. And like, again, more of just building this community. And
you're already doing it. Like
It's
that's the
so,
beautiful thing.
and it's like,
Your
let
whole life
yourself
is a book.
accept that you are already doing it. You have already done it. And the things, I love that so much. Like, this is the story of how. Like, this is the story of how I got to. And like, I love it. That's
Exactly.
so good.
And even your books, right? Like your life is your book. You don't have to have a published book to be an author. You are the author of your story.
I love
You're
that so
already
much.
doing that.
Right. I love it. I love it so much. I am gonna use that so much. This is the story of how I became so much happier than I ever imagined I could be. I love
Notice what
it.
happens to your mind. Doesn't it go blank? Because you go immediately into the heart.
Yes. I see, because as a podcaster, I think I have to fill the dead space and the dead air. But like, yeah, I am definitely in that space of like, this is how to. I love when I figure out those little things that like bring me into the present moment in such a beautiful, feel good kind of way. I love that so much. Oh, thank you. I
My
love that.
pleasure. My pleasure. No, that was a big one for me when I first got that. It was realizing that the pressure I was putting on myself to make it happen was me just writing over the story that was already written. Like that's not our job.
I need to keep that. Like, stop trying to revise it right over the perfection that the you that is the universe already wrote. Like,
Exactly.
watch the movie.
Chills.
Stop trying to do a reboot. The original's fantastic. Just let the movie play. Like,
when is the reboot better? When is the reboot better?
Never. I love it because it's so true.
Like, look at all the movies right now.
They're
not doing anything new. They're just doing reboots of reboots of reboots right now, and it drives me nuts.
It drives me nuts, and I've had that conversation too. But is that not such a microcosm of the macrocosm situation where it's like, that's exactly what we're doing? Stop doing the reboots of the old shit you don't want to create anymore. It's not any good.
Exactly.
Like, let the original story, your original blueprint that you decided on that was already going to be so awesome, play out on its own. It's already doing it. Exactly. I love it.
And even just recognize the fact that your number one purpose here is to create. So sometimes we create shit just to bone it down, just for that brief chapter. And then we're like, we're done. And that's okay. I literally, my whole last life, I created just to bone.
I love that. Here's something, because that's something that's kind of been in my mind a little bit too. Like the idea of like anything that is considered bad or evil, or like, like seven deadly sins is something that kind of comes up in my brain a lot. But like, I keep in my mind, I'm like, okay, but everything in creation belongs in creation because it's supposed to be on the menu and available for you to order if you want to experience that. That's the whole point. Everything is available to you, right? It's like we have these ideas of like, no, take that away. I don't want this or that, or this is bad. It's like, no, everything is supposed to be available to you, but so are all these good things. You need to shift yourself into that. The good things are available too. Let them come because they are also available.
Honestly, I've had a whole new experience with creation this past few months that
me too. I love it.
I don't see in black or white, right or wrong. Like I really see the only sin there is to against yourself, is to be against yourself, is to limit yourself,
self-denial,
right?
self-sabotage.
That's what leads to all these other sins, right?
Right. I'm so in that space of like, there are no mistakes, there are only experiences, and you came for all of them.
Exactly.
Right? So don't beat yourself up over anything. You came for all of this.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's honestly too a really big theme is having the human experience for me, because I've always been very cosmic. So that's been my greatest shift, is learning how to be human, because I didn't understand. Like I didn't understand like why would I need to reconnect to my inner child that just loved playing dress up just to play dress up.
I love that. Dress up is so in my sphere, in my brain right like lately. That's so perfect. That's such a great little I just love it. The universe is just showing us so many things to say, yes, your highest timeline is here and now, and look at it unfold, and it's going to be so much better than you imagined. I love it.
Exactly, because you as a writer know like you write not because of facts or to get anywhere. You write just to write because you enjoy it.
Because I love watching the story unfold. And, you know, that is, I really, oh, I'm feeling that so much. Just the connection to like, I so know how like my characters for me are telling me a story and telling me who they are and showing me like, this is what we're doing as I write things. And I love that so much. It's like, life is trying to do that same thing for you. Let life just tell, like, show you all these good things that are so exciting. Let those things in. I love this so much.
And better, one thing that I realized, and I know why I got this download a few weeks ago, was when you're writing, you are actually going to those places in time. And it's not just fictional. Like you literally are taking that adventure in what we would call, you know, the vibrational unseen. Like you are going and walking that adventure and
Yeah.
you're just scribing what you actually did.
In the like the multiverse is a real thing, and I am so with you on that. Like, and that's such a thing in my writing that I put in the stories. Everything you can think of exists somewhere. Just because you're
Yeah.
not experiencing it right here and you're here and now, that's a part of your human experience, is to think that you're not. Really, you are. Like you're a multidimensional being and you are totally experiencing all of these things. I
Yeah.
I love that so much too. It like it's true. And I just kind of, I had a thought and I lost it a little bit. This whole like string theory, multidimensional. It's like there is a version of me. Oh, the being with your human thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm that same way where you kind of have that, like, you know, looking to the stars, wanting to know more about what's out there, and then your ET friends and all this stuff. And like there's a part of me recently that has finally been being like, okay, but this part of your consciousness wanted to be a human. That's why you're here. Like this part of your consciousness is experiencing being a human, and there's plenty of other parts of your consciousness experiencing being all the other things that there are to be. But like you wanted this to, you wanted to experience human on earth in this like game that we play of, you know, money and creation and limitation and trying to remember that you are limitless, right? It's like you
Yeah.
wanted this experience. You signed up for that class. Like you said, you signed up.
You know, and I think one reason why for so long I wanted to remain in like the cosmos was because I was having this idea of the human experience itself and what it had to be. When I
Right.
realized my human experience can be just as infinite as my cosmic experience. There really isn't limitation. My human
Right.
experience can be completely different, which is why I believe I started in the cosmos, because I was meant to bring an entirely different human experience to the human experience itself. And I have. I live in a completely unconventional way that most people would fail at because they don't know what I know and they're not me.
I
And
love
that's
it.
fine,
Because
right?
that's part of their experience. And if it takes them 1,000 more lifetimes to get to where you are, well, whatever. We have all of eternity to keep doing this.
Exactly.
So why are you worried about it? Just let it
Exactly.
be.
Like we're just here to write. We're here to take divine truths and tell a story with them. The same way, like we were meant to create entertainment. We were meant to create this story using these divine truths as building blocks and dress it up. Like we are here to have our creative freedom to do whatever we want to do. There is no right, there is no wrong. It's just what you want to write, what you want to experience.
I I do love that. I love that so much. And God, I'm really gonna have to keep going back to that. This is how, because that is, I think that is such my issue, is where I have that, you know, you have that vision of your highest timeline. What does it look like from the perspective of me now? What is it, you know, because it is going to change, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
every time you think you're going to get that thing that you wanted, what that was, that next thing you immediately want it. Because isn't that such a like trippy thing to think about sometimes, that it's
It is.
real, it really isn't the manifestation that you actually want. You want the energy of the manifestation coming. Like, because the
Exactly.
second you get that thing, whatever it is, it's the new house, it's the new car, it's a new job, it's a new whatever lifestyle. The second you get it, what's the next thing I want? Right? Like, it's not
Yeah.
the getting the stuff is not the juicy stuff. And
Just
it's so antithetical to what we learn as humans. It trips my brain out.
What just came to me too is understanding that we are 99.9% formlessness,
Right.
right? So that when we are having the feeling, the story, we are experiencing our infiniteness that can't be in form first. They literally can't, you would, by putting it into form, it would water it down. So
like, okay, I can't, that's a phrase that's been in my head lately. Is I can't remember who it was that said it. It's like an ancient Eastern philosopher. If you name me, you negate me. Meaning when you put
yes,
labels, the second you label something, you negate everything else that it could be by labeling it.
exactly,
If you
exactly.
if you leave it formless, you leave it limitless to be anything.
That's why I reject labels. Like one of my biggest pet peeves, like when I'm on a live or something and someone like will like literally have to ask me, are you a man or a woman? Or do you have this? Do you have
like
ADHD? Or do you have this random word that I can't pronounce because you speak a certain way? Like that is my biggest pet peeve. And I say this to them. I'm
I
everything.
I
Like
yeah, I
you
don't want
need
to label
to
it.
you need to put me in a box so you feel comfortable and can understand me. Maybe I'm not meant to be understood.
No, but that is such the human thing, isn't it? That we want people to like define yourself clearly so that I can feel comfortable with my understanding of you. And it's like
Exactly.
you don't need to be comfortable with your understanding of me. You need to be you need to be comfortable with your understanding of you, right?
Exactly. And guess what? Let's flip that. We do that to ourselves.
We do, don't we?
By needing to know.
Oh, man, I feel so called out right there.
Me too. I was doing it to my damn self. Like
So called out.
I call myself out all the time. Like shit, that's what my spirit feels like. My infinite cosmic self's like, I don't need you to understand me. Don't
Like
water
just
me down. Don't label me.
let me do like I'm gonna do some great shit. Just watch me do it. Just
Right? Just
it's
watch.
fine. Quit worrying about it. Like you're overthinking
Right?
it. Just let it be. That I resonate with
Right?
that so much. Like 100%. I love
Like
that.
when people ask me, well, how are you gonna do that? How is that? Just watch me. Because I am. Because I am.
Because I am the I am that is everything. Thank you.
Exactly. I love that you caught that too.
I
It's
love it.
because I am, bitch. I am that I am.
That's right. I love no, that is such so I feel like all of this energy is just so like exactly where I'm at, like which is obviously why we've lined up because that's how because the universe is perfect that way. I was just
It is
meant to
always
talk to you
perfect.
again. I just love it.
I love it too. It's
I
exactly what I needed today. Honestly, a dope ass conversation with a dope ass cosmic being. Like we
I
see
love it.
I love it.
I just sent you so many energetic hugs. I'm just so I so needed to have a conversation with you too. I really did. Like we need I don't know how the universe is going to tell the story of how we like run into each other in Vegas or some shit. I don't know what.
You would
Sedona.
say Vegas, you witchy bitch.
You know it. You know I just see me running into you like dancing somewhere in a casino and I just get to like run up behind you and do the cover your eyes thing and think that I'm so cute. I love it. I can't wait to see how the universe puts that together. I'm so excited.
Me too, right? Me too. I love
I
it.
That's so great. I really am gonna hang on to that though. And the this is the story of how because that I know that that is the biggest part for me that my brain wants to go find what's the thing that brings it in, right? But
You.
right, and it's like it's already being brought. Just just wait for
I
it.
think you channel, right? Like we understand that we are just channels. So we are the ones interpreting the other layers of us. So just because it's all you doesn't mean it's all on you.
Oh, I
You,
love that.
right? Your role is the
I
channel,
I need to
right?
write that down. Because they're no, but really, that is where it's that putting pressure on yourself to make it happen thing. You know,
Exactly.
it's so true. that, I have this understanding now that I am an infinite creator and that everything I see is something that I've created, and I can connect the thoughts that I've had to a thing that shows up in my reality. But stop kicking yourself about it. Like, because it's like, stop kicking your own ass. You don't need to do that.
Stop it.
It's not for real.
Your only job is to see. You want to see, and so therefore you are seen.
You are the witness. Like, you're here to witness your reality. Right.
Like, you deep down just want to feel seen, because deep down you are an infinite being that wants to create a meal big enough for you to experience yourself. That's all you're doing.
Oh, I love that.
That's all you're doing.
That is where that feeling of wanting to be seen comes from, is like, I'm trying to experience myself from every perspective possible. So yes, I love that so much.
That's all you're doing.
It's all you doesn't mean it's all on you. I need a t-shirt that says that. This is what I need. I love that. Like, that whole vibe is just like, it's that, take a deep breath and okay, I have to tell you this because I think you'll totally get it. Okay, I had this dream, and like, I'm all about the dreamscape and the things that, like, we're doing in our dreams and what our dreams are trying to tell us. 100%. Yeah. I had this dream that I was driving this huge bus, right? Like, I'm driving this huge bus and I had to turn it around. And I'm like, the pedals are kind of too far away from my legs, and there's all these levers and things I got to be dealing with. And my arms are kind of like, I'm really having to reach, and I'm really having to try it. I got it turned around. It was so hard. And I woke up and I was like, okay, inner me, I get it. I'm not supposed to be driving. That bus is not my size. It's not meant for me. It was hard to turn that shit around. I could do it. But I'm not, that bus isn't built for me to drive. Stop driving. Stop trying to drive.
I love that so much. You're like the little kid trying to drive dad's car.
It was. Can't reach the pedals. Like, I got it turned around and it was okay. It's like, yeah, you did it, but guess what? Not your job. Stop it.
Go find, like, your bus, right? Like, go find your bus.
Get in your little tiny kid bus, and I will push you around the grocery store, and you can pretend that you're in charge, but, like, let's be real.
The fact that you went all the way down to, like, that the Flintstone kind of car, and not even just the electric ones for kids. You went all straight to caveman, like, Flintstone in it.
But inner me is like, no, bitch, you got to get real basic for real. Like, seriously, like, like, you've been too far. No, we got to take you down a further peg than that. Let it roll. Just, it's good.
They make some nice kid cars. I have to say that. In my neighborhood, they got, like, Corvettes and, like, Jeeps and Hummers, and, like, they fly. They're flying the most actual cars.
And like, do we not just need to be those little kids, like, rolling around in our fancy little shit, just being like, life is good.
Yeah.
I love that. So see, I knew that you would totally get what that, because, like, I had that exact reaction. I had that dream and I had that thought when I woke up, and it was like, you're funny. You're very funny, inner me. That was good. It was good.
That's the experience I've had. I'm not gonna lie. I've been in major hermit mode the past year, like, straight up, like, just really learning how to be with myself and what that actually means. So it's like, I've learned to appreciate all those voices in my head. Like, I've learned that they're all different versions of me, and we're just hanging out. Yeah. And just, like, I get to experience myself. And, like, I know, like, most people would be like, oh, the voices in your head, you say. I'm like, yeah, it's a healthy thing.
Excuse me, I am having a conference with my infinite selves right now, and sometimes I like to bring in a few philosophers from the past who are in the ether. Whatever, this is my process.
Right? Let me do it. When you're talking to yourself on the street, and they just, like, look at you like, why are you talking to yourself? Like, why wouldn't I?
I got called. Let me tell you, the number of times I get called out for talking to myself, like, throughout my life. And I'm just like, whatever, you know what? I'm working some stuff out. Mind your business.
Right? Like, I mean, it's all
leave
us.
Me alone.
Why wouldn't we talk to ourselves? Like,
And I'm a great conversationalist. I'm fascinating. Thank you. I like to talk to me.
I'm funny as hell.
I am. I'm hilarious and I have really great insights. So whatever.
Right?
I'm having a great conversation. I don't know what you're doing all day, but
honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. The conversations that I have with myself have become better than anyone from my past. I've never felt more seen and heard by myself.
yeah.
And you know
No,
what I mean?
I
Like,
am in that realm and it's kind of so for me, like I'm definitely with that where I have been spending so much time with myself and in my head and finally got to a place where I can tell myself those things like stop kicking yourself, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. But so lately for me, I've been feeling this like intense need to like get out of the house and go do stuff, even though it's not necessarily what my ego brain says is the productive thing to do. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
but it's different, right? It's
Yeah,
different because it's not you searching for that love or being seen, it's you wanting to share yourself.
right. It's like I got to get out and I don't know why. I don't know where
Because
I'm
you want to
going.
give, you
Right.
know? You
I
want to
love that.
give.
I
You
love
know,
that.
we were abundant as fuck, and we as beings, abundant beings, we love to give because that is also receiving.
Oh, I love all of that so much. Say more about that.
Like that's what I realized. Like when you're feeling alone, like they say this poem. I made a post about this too. Like stitched it because she said grief is love that is stuck in your heart that is waiting to be given, not received. You don't need love in those situations. Those like she's like, you know, I feel like this love is rotting in my chest. This all this love that was meant for you is oozing out of my cracks onto strangers, onto friends and family. And I
I
feel
love
as
that.
tragic as it is, my world is filling up with this love that was meant for you. But I realized that I went through a grief period like that where I poured all this love that was meant for someone like into the collective, into my message, into my clients, myself, my world, and I healed my grief by giving, not
I
receiving.
I love that. But it is how you receive because that's how you receive the peace and the healing that you need.
Exactly, but it was seeing my own abundance. Like giving is receiving. Like the creation is where giving feels like receiving and receiving feels like giving. There's no separation
I
when you're
love
just being authentic. It's
Ooh.
balance, natural balance when you're aligned and just doing whatever you want to do. Because that is, we separate
There's
giving from receiving.
there
We
is
literally separate it.
I feel like there's some like I really have to hit on the receiving is giving.
Yeah,
Like that I think is the bit that I'm not allowing in myself with
there
the
it is.
no, like really with the receiving mode is like there is something giving about you allowing yourself to receive. Like there's
Yeah,
such that thing that says don't be selfish, don't be greedy, don't be all about you kind of, like and I know that that's some of it,
but you
but
have to be. You
right.
have to be selfish because most of us are selfless, meaning we don't allow ourselves to give to ourselves.
And that's something that I'm practicing like telling myself because I know it's something I need to learn is like, no, I'm happy to accept help. I'm happy to accept my blessings. I'm happy to accept because I am someone that like in my sphere right now, there's someone who's been offering to fix something in my house
Mm-hmm.
that like I haven't been like, yeah, come fix that. Because there's a part of me being like, no, I don't want to ask you to do that because why? Because what? The universe brought them to you and they know how to do it because you wanted it fixed. Like
But
let them do it.
think about it in this way, okay? When you give, you always receive back what you give, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you are denying them the abundance of giving to you and receiving all of the other abundance that comes from giving to you. You're blocking them from their abundance.
Oh, that
You're
hit.
bad.
Ah, I just got called out a second time so hard. Why did I not expect this of you? I should know better. This is this is what Lindsey does. She calls you to the carpet really fucking hard. Like
you should see what I do to myself.
I love it. No, I love that. That is so like, oh, I need to keep that in mind because it is so true. Because whatever it is that you're supposed to be receiving or being a part of, you're a cooperative component in some other bigger thing that you don't see. You can't know, right? Like you can't know the things that you do or that you might receive that are it's a domino, right? Like it's the next domino in a thing. You can't know what it is, right?
Exactly.
Like that's the whole flow thing.
Exactly, because the combination, right? Just as you're a combination, so is your reality. Your reality is a reflection of you.
Right.
Your reality is you. So it's like you just get these seemingly random like hits to do something that have no relation. They seem way out in left field, but they're
right.
not because they unlock a piece of you because you are always the key to everything. It's not about out here. It's about unlocking the version of you that can see what you've already done.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I'm like, when I edit this and go through, I'm like gonna have to like reabsorb all of this again for another time. Like,
hell yeah,
I feel like there's just so much that I have to like integrate now that I'm like, oh shit, yeah, no, that's for real. Okay, I love it. I so needed this conversation. I do want to be mindful of your time, so like I thank you so much for coming to talk to me.
Thank you. God. Thank you. We'll have to do this again for sure.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so excited. You absolutely have to come back for another episode sometime because this has just been so great. I love your energy so much. I'm so glad that like the universe decided to like zip us together again. This has been a great conversation.
I love it. I love it. Me too. I love your energy as well. I needed it too.
Oh, I miss you, friend. I really do.
I missed you. We have to talk more. You have my number. You have my number.
You know what? Don't be surprised if you get a random phone call from me and I have some silly thought that I'm like, you know what? Nobody else would get this. So I'm going to tell Lindsay and she'll giggle. She'll understand. She'll get the cosmic jokes that come in sometimes that I'm like, I'm laughing right now, but nobody else would get this.
Like, I love it. That's what I do myself all day long. So it'd be great to have someone else to do it with.
Oh, I love it. No, I'm going to. Like the next time I have some crazy thought, I'm like, Lindsay will understand this crazy thought and she will giggle about it with me. I'm so excited.
I love it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for being with me. Oh, and
thank you.
Go ahead and before we go, anything that you want to plug for the audience, let us know where to find you. Because I'll definitely put all your links and stuff in the description for people to find. But go ahead and your shout outs. Where do people find you?
Right now, I'm just really on TikTok because that's all I vibe with. I used to be on Instagram too, but it's like, meh, I don't really vibe with it. But yeah, TikTok's really my main place. I do lives, a lot during the week for readings and all that and just speaking. And all my information's in my TikTok bio. So it's pretty easy, straightforward.
Yeah. All right. The cheat code 333 on TikTok, and I will put the link down to your account in the description. I love you so much, friend. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi again, friends. That was my conversation with my good friend, Lindsay. The cheat code 333 on TikTok. Do check her out. She's got some great services available. I do love all of the spiritual insights that she has available on her TikTok. Certainly do appreciate that she has the balls to call me out on my shit. So if you need somebody who will do that for you, Lindsay's your gal. If you'd like to support more of this podcast, you can check out my Patreon. That's patreon.com/AbernathyFranklin. That's the umbrella Patreon for this podcast, as well as my fictional podcast, The Adventures of Abernathy Franklin. Thanks so much again for listening, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment or a review. Share with your friends. And until next time, wherever you are out there, my earthbound and cosmic friends, I hope you're doing well.